Connected. Recording in progress.
Yes.
Dear Earthmates, we are, after like 6 months, dear Suchismita Ghoshal and I are together again. I, Tarık Günersel. Suchismita is based in India, from in India. And I am based in Antalya, Turkey. Um, but both of us, we live in the world, on our planet, and in the universe, mentally and in terms of our hearts. And uh, the first two topics, the first one was, I think, the Earth, right? Our
Yes.
planet. And the second one was solidarity. Am I wrong?
Solidarity. Yes.
Yes. And the third topic we chose is
Love. One of the most sought after topic, has multitudes of definitions and interpretations and many things. And yes, of course, this is one episode I have also looked forward for months now, because it's such a diverse, also very universal topic.
exactly. And
Yes,
um, uh, uh, would you kindly allow me to say a few things and then the floor will be yours?
absolutely. It's all my pleasure. Please continue.
Thank you. Now, when I did not specifically prepare for this.
Hmm.
I thought, but well, I've been thinking about love for, I guess, more than 60 years. Anyway, so that's plenty of time. Um, what is love when I ask myself? First of all, attraction and the desire to be with something or someone, a being
Hmm.
or an idea, an event, a memory. I- Infinite, there may be infinite objects of love, and each kind of love is different, and each experience is different. Our relationship with the notion of love also changes, and uh, it's one of the topics that will be around as long as humanity or post-humanity exists. And or even after us, if we no longer exist, if there are uh, live beings somewhere, they will experience love without us. They will be able to do so. It is trans human. It's
Transcendental.
transcendental. Yes, yes. And and one of the things that is interesting is that we may force ourselves not to love someone or something. That uh, brings, I think, psychological problems. One should feel freely if we want to, if we feel like loving something or someone. Yeah, it's our feeling, it's our domain of existence. Now, what we do or what we should do or should not do, that's an ethical issue. It's another layer.
Hmm.
But many people, unfortunately, suppress love in the name of this or that faith or philosophical approach or ethical approach. And then we pay for it. I think it leads to unhealthy situations, as many psychoanalysts, psychologists, etc.,
Mm.
have expressed. And then love may be fruitful, it may be fruitful and dangerous, or it may simply be harmful. We there are tragedies in the name of love. Somebody kills somebody in the name of love, jealousy, etc., or etc. You know, infinite. Look at Othello, or Romeo and Juliet, etc. So, and at the age of 72, so last year when I was 71, I made peace with all the types of love in my life, uh, with different ways. I no longer, um, I, I gave myself that liberty. And at the age of 72, finally, after 60 plus years of several types of pain psychologically and self-torture, I
Mm.
feel healed and happy. And
That's great.
uh, and love, my love for creativity and arts, literature, theater, in addition, of course, to to for the people in my life, family, friends, and so I feel happy. Well, that could be one of the our future topics, right? Happiness.
Mm. That could be.
Yes, I have already said, I think, almost everything I needed to say. Now the floor is yours.
First of all, I am so intrigued and feeling, I don't know, very light after listening to you and the composure you had in your voice that actually set the tone of not feeling anxious to say something. It's just more like very patiently listening to something which actually I want to say that in this moment a form of love towards listening to something, and that actually I felt. And thank you so much for opening up and truly truly saying how you have felt the thing healing, because it takes a lot of courage after a lot of our mind creates a lot of torments, it's for sure. Like after a lot of torments all these years, you say that you found a kind of liberation from this thing, and you find happiness from there because you already made peace. Thank you so much for bringing this, because this was most important, because you need courage to um, step up a level where you break your previous torments patterns which were like truly keeping you in some kind of bondage, to not to feel that healing, not to feel that freeness expansion. So it was really needed. I appreciate you, sir, for bringing this and in this platform, because it's needed, where we take this courage to break free something. Otherwise feeling the liberation is not possible, and then thinking of different forms of love and tormenting ourselves, this type of love, that type of love that you exactly mentioned, I have also felt. um, Although I don't really have this much of really expansive life experiences that you might have, truly, I have all the respect for you, but maybe whatever I have experienced, to think love in a very straight way means just in one parameter, it's very limited. And when we truly say about universal love, it doesn't actually stays limited. It transcends, like the way you said. Like, even if we are not here in this earth, the next a generation of humans, and then love will still be there. Like how love is so transcendental, like time, space, and our boundaries, everything. Like it's very much transcendental. It's so touching the way you touch the things. I mean, I truly had a few questions which I noted down in the last 2 days that I wanted to actually ask you, but your first conversation that you came up is just somewhat made me feel light in my body, because that had powerful, what I say, anchoring with what I am saying about love or about my experience, which I think is very much powerful when our conversation has an anchoring to something. And then we come from that space, it automatically becomes powerful, even though we say less, even though we say very lightly, with composure. And thank you so much. I got to learn something, and I truly, from my heart, I feel really grateful. If you ask me about love, truly, I truly don't have words, because most of the conversations are not actually in the form of conversations these days. It becomes how I want to be so right. And yeah, so in any form of conversations you do, it's I don't know, it's maybe where because our mind, it creates a lot of this overpowered, like identity of ourselves, that we have to clinch to our identity so hardly that we don't get to soften, we don't get to feel anchored and let ourselves free into something we are saying, and making space for others to listen. That's why I said that this conversation gave me a form of love to listening. And I actually, I wanted to ask something. It is like how you thought in your childhood the love, and as you have grown up, stages by stages, till and up till now. So how has it changed for you? Like love from
Mm.
there and to love here. I really want to know about this.
Gladly. Um, well, the first person I felt love uh, for was my mother, and um, she has been most influential on me, in me,
Mm,
and um, she's still with me. Uh, that's one of the nice things of memory.
mm,
Even the people you love have died, you can keep them with you as parts of your personal treasure. And she was a very aesthetic being. Yes, aesthetic. She was beautiful. Her voice was beautiful. Her behavior was beautiful. The way she spoke was beautiful. Uh, uh, and after her divorce from my father when I was two, especially, she focused on me, and um, she had been taken from school before she had a chance to finish middle school because of her health. Her 4 year older sister had died when she was 17 because of a brain tumor. So, although
mm,
my mother loved reading and writing literature as a child, when she became ill, um, her father, my mother's father, yeah, grandfather, um, he was afraid Um, I cannot lose my second daughter as well, he said. And
Mm.
that hurt my mother gravely. And I didn't know about
Oh.
it only in her deathbed when she was 57 in 1990. When her eyes were closed, she knew she was going to die. She said, I forgive my father.
Oh.
And she wanted to be buried on her father. And we did so. They are now together. But till then, she had never mentioned that her heart was broken because she finished later on middle school from later on in her early 20s when she began as a librarian in a school. But she loved opera. She loved classical music, Turkish and Western, uh, uh, and we didn't have access to Eastern music, unfortunately. Those were late 1950s, early 1960s. Um, and then she she took me to the opera when I was a kid. She trusted me. She showed great attention, love. She never raised her voice. She was always so polite
Mm.
and delicate and and uh, so I was in an aquarium. My mother's mother, my mother's father,
Mm.
who had Parkinson's. He was a very gentle man,
Oh.
but when I was a child, I did not see him as a man. He was too passive, of course, understandably, in the armchair. His hands were shaking, but still he was able to read. He insisted on
Your
reading newspapers.
grandfather.
Yes, my mother's father.
Yeah, yeah.
My 4 year elder aunt, um, um, who was born after the death of the first daughter. So, uh, so anyway, so I felt they all loved me. I loved them, and the atmosphere was quiet, full of love and respect at home. And
Mm.
then I started visiting my father's parents, and my uncle. I was highly respected and loved there too. Nobody ever said to me, "Come, sit." They said, "Would you like to come? Would you like to sit? Would you please do that?" That's when I was a 3 years, 4 year old kid. I was
Mm.
asked my opinion. And I thought that was just the normal things. I thought that was what everybody did in the world. It was not so. So it was a shock for me to leave my aquarium, uh, visiting my father. That added, also, I was divided into two. Anyway, I overcome that division, my mother's world and my father's world, very recently.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I had a divided self, and on the verge of multiple personality disorder, even. Uh,
Ah.
but I didn't have that because I was conscious all the time. But the feelings, contracts, etc. I
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
I was a universe in myself. That helped me in my literary works, of course, and my theatrical works, of course.
Mm.
And I loved music. I loved words, poetry. I loved, and I loved acting. That was when I was 5, 6, 7 years old. So that was the core, my love. And when I was 6, before I began school, I saw this wonderful portrait of Beethoven.
Mm.
And that portrait, um, of course, in color originally, was in black and white, the photo. And the face of Beethoven was composed of angels and muses and
Mm.
Eros, little Eros, you know. And then the painter had drawn them so well that you saw Beethoven. When you
Mm.
look carefully, his face was composed of angels in inspiration, angel music, etc. And at that moment, I was so impressed. I said, this man, I didn't know who he was. I must reach that depth, you know. And a few years later, when I was 9, when somebody said to be or not to be and mentioned the meaning, I was struck and I said, I must write equally, deeply, plainly, truthfully, and impressively.
Mm.
So, so these goals, this passion was in me, and
Mm.
passion we cannot do without passion. I mean, whatever we do, even if we want to cook an omelette, we should have some sort of passion.
Some sort of passion. Yes, that's needed. That's
And
the acceleration point of doing something.
exactly, and then comes will, desire, will, etc. And 2 nights ago, I performed Friedrich Nietzsche on stage, the play, the
Yes,
monodrama
sir.
I wrote. Yes, it is related to all these things. Anyway, so that's how it began. And then uh, the moment I met Füsun, uh, my wife, I was struck. We shook hands, and her energy, ta-da, it was most interesting. And then another step came uh, when my daughter was born in hospital. On her 4th day only was I able to hold her in my arms. And the moment I
Mm.
held her in my arms, I fell in love. Uh, and that's another revolution. That was another step. And then
Mm.
and then the following revolution was when I had my first grandchild, my grandson, and the second one, my granddaughter. So, in addition to these are some of the turning points, and um, uh, and and one of the biggest love um, related things in my life is has been writing, of course, and reading. I'm not saying reading and writing, writing and reading. That's the correct order.
Mm.
The pleasure of writing, um, to me, is number one. The pleasure of reading comes second. And I try to read life. That's why I
Read
read
life.
books. Yes, I try to read life from different angles. That's why I'm interested in philosophy, science. And although I'm not a religious person, I gave up religion when I was 13. I'm interested in learning about them because they include adventures of humanity. And there is wisdom in every religion. Otherwise, those religions would not have survived. So I'm open to wisdom, love of wisdom,
Wisdom.
philosophy, uh, that brings us to philosophy. So I
Yes,
think
love for
this
wisdom.
this is the summary, my relationship with love.
That's so beautiful and has many meanings how love you have perceived in your life and how love has come in your life. How beautiful it is to I was only listening and I am like more listening today, and that gives me a pleasure of just um, the receive what I'm receiving. It's beautiful. And when you say that you took your daughter, when you took your daughter when she was only 4 day old, so it just rekindled a sense of, nurturing, a kind of care in my mind that somebody, that affection, that motherly affection, or maybe that universal affection that we have for our own children, our own creation, we say. And so beautiful, so blissful, I would say. I just loved those things, and love to know this different angles, Beethoven's portraiture, and different angles how you added up, like your relatives who used to ask you, would you like to come here, would you like to sit here? So this, like, making space even when you didn't know what space is and kind of those things, because you were such a small child. How would you know, like, in 3 years old, all of these like heavy topics, what is space, what is safe space, and other things? But they made you practice that, and that was very uplifting. That is very beautiful. I really appreciated. I really um, enjoyed listening to your experiences, different experiences that you had to add. And
Yeah.
yes, and one thing that you said is very important. Like you said about your mother, she forgave her father when she was on the deathbed almost and passing away. Thus, it's kind of thing that gives us like um, how much like we as human beings, not as like intentionally, but I think most of the times hold on to something related to our very close person, specifically our parents, specifically to them. Like we like to hold on to the grievances, the anger or something that they cause us. Like it is a deep reflection, which I was very fortunately very fortunately this year, have focused on how much it doesn't come very easily. Maybe I don't want to give myself all the appreciation for this, but the practices I do, which I do consistently, like meditation, which has been a very life changing thing for me, because most of the time, women, I'm just also I would like to mention, women has this like holding on. I won't say that men are completely stoic or something. No, nobody is. Nobody should be stoic completely, because that actually loses the essence of feeling. Like that you can feel over here rather than here, you can actually feel here. That's important. And this year, through one of my meditations, it was a self forgiveness meditation. How much it has unraveled. I have done this before, but how much it has unraveled on the part of with the relationship of my parents, like in relationship to my parents and what happened in my childhood, and how much I have held on. It was crystal clear, as I was flushed with a lot of emotions when this came, and I could understand it. Of course, it was caused by them. They projected something onto me, but it was more than that. How much self misery I have created, how much self misery I have created. I would like to say very, like very courageously, it's most of the times our sufferings and torments we create because we think we don't have the power to like free them. We think we need them. Um, I believe we need them to actually say that this is my identity and how it was built up with those experiences, because we have this this obsession with our identity. It's true, it's very true. And how you said that you have felt free last year and you got healing, we know that there is some form of forgiveness that is attached to it. Loving also gives us love truly in its one of its parameters is also it's like forgiveness for our own healing. How powerful it is to think of that when we hold on to something, it's not free. And when we say love in a very bigger sense, in universal sense, it cannot be restricted, cannot be something that should give you this like holding on. Yes, no, but those beautiful essence, those beautiful memories also given by my parents should be prioritized. And um, what happened has happened. For the sake of my healing, I need to forgive myself for holding on to them. I recently have gone through this period of understanding and delayering, and that has added strength, that has added courage to my part, as well as breakdowns, because breakdown was needed. um Breakdown in terms of, you know I mean, before something new can come up, something has to die or something has to let go of, that has to
Mm,
be free.
mm,
And maybe freeing some part of, I won't say completely, but truly some part of those miseries, like you said your mother did. I found myself really on that, on reciprocating that, like how we carry so much, although we don't intentionally do that, but we have never been we have never been guided with the safe space and other things, and we hold on to those things. We think that these are our identities. This is how we can be maybe hard. At least I'm talking about like this holding on to the miseries. I'm not telling that they didn't my parents or anyone didn't have to do anything to add up to their misery, but they were somewhat projecting what they have learned, what they have been patterned into. How it is so important to truly understand psychological depths and other things, and how forgiveness is also related to love, like one step of love. Otherwise, like truly understand in its biggest sense what love is, which is so freeing. People say it's freeing. It's it also gives pain, but it also gives that much of liberation. And both are true. Both are true. I mean, in form of understanding love in its every essence, first we truly understand, we need to understand what misery is, and maybe the next step, freeing ourselves from the miseries and understanding that love also can be very free. And when we truly have any ill, ill thoughts, ill things, for one moment even, like we don't have any ill thoughts, ill intentions, and we are being able to see that person who caused us some form of wrong or something in a very compassionate eyes, it also generates a form of love, because it's very freeing, very much freeing.
true.
This is, I think, I wanted to add, and I didn't know I would be very much truthful on this episode, like our this conversational series on love. But I chose to be, maybe because you gave me a safe space since start with the conversation and composer, and I found with your stories, with your own life events, that I must need to open up and say something, and not to limit myself, because this is the space where I can just uh, truly say what my heart wants to say in this moment. Yes,
Wonderful.
not
And
thinking from here and just feeling it and saying it from here. Truly, it has some in some parts, just to sometimes give it a rest. This part, like always being, why I said that people has this tendency to always be right, but not feeling from here, even though whatever it is here. Are we being able to communicate that from here? And most of the times we find ourselves in our heads, and it tells us, oh, this is that. Why are you saying this? Why do you need this? No, you have faced this. Give it a form, give it a really a good overpowering authority. But sometimes you don't need to. And this was the space I just got that opportunity. I'm so grateful, truly.
me too. And by the way, this conversation, I think, is flowing so fruitfully that I think we can share this whole conversation on YouTube because you feel that
Absolutely.
too, don't you? This is
Absolutely.
flowing.
Such a very
Because,
flowing,
yes,
very
and
expansive and slowly growing, kind of.
yes, we will make a book as well, but written words lack this
Mm,
audiovisual richness.
feeling.
Yes.
Richness.
So,
Yes, richness
uh,
is the right word, sir.
yes.
Yes.
And uh, uh, some 25 years ago, I decided to consider myself a post-rationalist. Um,
Post-rationalist. Yeah.
yes, rationalist. And then I looked it up. I think a Polish philosopher used that some time ago. And what I meant was this, is this. Rationalism, enlightenment, these are all important. But this part of our brain is new, as Nietzsche said. Um, there is also this part we
Yeah.
carry uh, in our bodies, in our minds, all the experience uh, from the times of before humanity, the first
Mm,
living beings, monocellular, etc., and then first animals, uh, even plants, etc. They have, we all incorporate that, whether we are aware of it or not. Now, um, one should uh, learn or relearn to care for the emotions, the feelings, as you mentioned, in other words, um, because words are never sufficient. We are both poets and we are good with words, but we both know, we are both poet philosophers, right?
yeah.
And
Yes.
so we can also call this series Two Poet Philosophers Conversing, right? Because at university, an American teacher, uh, he called me a poet philosopher. And then at
Mm,
this age, I think, yes, those two together. they express me, and they are also true for you.
Yes.
You are a poet philosopher
I am
too.
both. I
So
love the like intermingling of both of these things.
yes,
I mean,
and
I
and
try to integrate.
yeah, me too. And that's why we found each other. That's why we are doing this after having met. Uh,
Yes.
that's why you and I are doing this. You know,
Yes.
two different generations, two different cultures, but two similar personalities in 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 so-
Personalities. Yes.
in interesting ways, and then different. So all these aspects are producing interesting food for thought. Um, yes, and uh, Nietzsche, uh, well, as I've been with him very, very much during the past 2 months, especially. He liked both these two Greek mythological gods, Dionysos, in Turkish we say Dionysos, and Apollon. And Dionysos is the god of joy, creativity, wine, all those, feelings, emotions. Oh,
Grandiosity. Yeah.
yes, yes. And then Apollon is all, also having an artistic side because he's Apollon is a god of music as well, not only rationality, but he is more of wisdom, uh, calculation, form. We need both. We need both chaos and the ability to give our joy a form. Otherwise, we wouldn't have art. Art needs both.
Truly.
I like this approach of Nietzsche, actually, and we have both mentioned in our examples and in our um, summarization attempt of our life experience. That's what I wanted to share now. And okay, uh, may I ask you, uh, what, when you look back in your life, um, how did love occur or evolve, and what would you like to say in addition to what you said?
Truly. It's uh if I say something about love, it has been very confusing thing since childhood because I grew up in a family that has that has from one end has given me a shelter, a beautiful process towards education and a freedom, kind of freedom to go through the educational, ventures and have your own space. On the other hand, they had like I have come from a family a little conflicting. One second, my phone is, yes, now it's fixed. So it's been conflicting in their relationship, my parents, if I have to be very honest. But in form of my in form of growing up, I truly um, had to understand what is this, I was confused with the sense of self in form of something like someday I'm just very much adored and also going all I in the one hand I have been provided with the things that I needed to grow up smoothly. On the other hand, there was some sort of distance in emotional needs um, from my parents. And I thought that providing in forms of things are the love. And maybe emotional needs are not that valued, but deep inside my heart, I don't know. Of course, in childhood, when I was in my childhood and in my teenage. So I did not know this very well because I was growing and innocence was there. I was barely known about the outside world, apart from schooling, apart from going to the tuitions and meeting my friends and other things. But there was some sort of things when I used to see to in my friends that their parents, they of course did not know, but their parents are attending them as like in a in a very loving way or something. It would give me a question, it would give me a melancholy, I would say, that why there is a lot of emotional unmet emotional needs, as I am saying now, as a, as you know, as a phrase. I didn't know the phrase or other things at that time, of course. 10 years, 12 years, or 14 years old, how would they know? So it has always been a question, and maybe from that distorted self I used to seek love outside. And one thing I know, I have always been very happy with tiny joys. For example, finding joy in eating the favorite food made by your mom, and finding joy in buying something, finding joy in spending time together with your parents. These things have stayed with me till now, like tiny things, finding joy in tiny things, because I did not know um, that how, because for me, I think it has grown with me, which I did not know unconsciously. It has grown with me. The search for finding joy in small things when your emotional needs are not met. And this gave me a distorted sense of self, I would say. I have been a lot of times since my, I think the age of um, 15, since 16, or yes, since 16, I think, till 22 or 23, I have in some sort of growing depression. I had these things because I started to, as I started to grow up, I started to become a little bit of rebel, a very silent rebel kind of thing, like writing and other things.
Yeah,
And
me.
from there, yes, from there, this thing came up that I think, which I did not know, but emotional unmet, like needs, because those came up as poetry verses. Now I know. And since then, I think one thing has not changed is how my parents, uh, of course, whatever they had. And now that I have accepted, they tried to ensure my safety in terms of providing things, you know. So that has given me a sense of love some way. And now I have grown up, and now that I am more consciously operating myself so that I can actually analyze how I have taken love, I thought that it is something that you can be externally given.
Mm.
It's just internally feeling settled, like you have to make peace. So that thing didn't happen while all of those teenage years, because as I told you, yes, I had a distorted self. I might not have been saying this to you confidently if it was maybe 4 years back or 5 years back. And I'm much confident because somewhat freeing has given me a form of love, a form of peace, forgiveness, and other things. It doesn't come so easily. So this is how love has been. And now I enjoy the tiny things. I also know um, what I seek in form of love as a safe space or something. Love doesn't have to be um, restricting. Love doesn't have to be only things you are provided with, but it also has something to do with you showing kindness to someone in need. You showing up for yourself. That is also love, and that is self love. And in bigger forms there are many forms of self love, but yes, in deeper sense I'm telling, like, you showing up for yourself every day, because I know mental health issues and other things, how it affects people. It gives them a distorted sense of self. They go through regular suffering, torments, and other things that they have been endured. They have never been able to track them since starting, because that childhood actually builds a lot of things in a person's life. It's somebody given a very safe space in their childhood, really pampered and really emotionally, like adored, would have a different kind of confidence and light in their personality, in form of understanding love and what exactly is, like, not love, something else. So they will have this beautiful um, understanding. They themselves will have, because some, in one way or other way, their self confidence will be so high. They will be mm, um, until and unless they didn't face something truly traumatic or something, but they will feel a confidence to recognize and discern between what is love and what is exactly not love, or something else. And this is, I think, very much important in my life. It has played a big role, because truly I did not know how to say what love has been. Like, there are this set of Indian Bollywood movies which shows love in a very different way, romance in a very different way. But there are this love of your grandfather and grandmother, which I I lagged, because I did not get to see my parents' side of grandmother and grandfather, because they, uh, by the age of, when I was, I guess, I was only 2, my grandmother died, and before my birth, my grandfather died from father's side, and uh, mother's side, my grandfather died when I was only 4, and my grandmother from mother's side, she stayed in a different district, and we stayed in a different district. So she died very recently, 2021, I think, in December. But I never felt that warmth or something from, didn't get to experience. This was how my things were. I'm not telling, but I could not understand between different forms and love and this and that. What I understood, a safe space from parents, a very safe childhood from parents, are so important to um, build your primary and very strong base of definition for love, so that you don't actually get to externally, exploited when you just seek love from someone or something. And yes, and I feel confident today to speak about how it was then and how it is now. Like, feeling also self sufficiency has come from giving myself that forgiveness, my practices, knowing what love is. We are the first person we need to nurture first in order to actually give love and receive love. We have to have our vessels, strong. So,
I
yes,
agree.
this is
I agree.
my love.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing these. And uh, 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 sometimes we fall in love, um, and this falling in love may be appropriate or inappropriate from the perspective from the perspective of the general approach or ethics or whatever general acceptability, uh, etc. But then that's also part of life, and each time uh, needs a special uh, care or approach. These are complexities of love, yes. And uh, what is the opposite of love? Not love, maybe say, we may say uh, extreme hate. For
Hate.
example, we have in the world volumes of love poems. I've never seen an anthology of hate poems. Uh,
Mm,
but there should also be an anthology of hate poems. And I have written
mm,
hate poems.
mm,
Yes, and at in my youth and later on in my middle age, etc. I
oh,
also
mm,
felt self-destructive. I felt I came close to suicide.
ah,
I lost my self-confidence. I lost my
mm,
hope about myself. Uh,
ah,
but while even during those times, I was smiling
mm,
and I seemed to be a relaxed person,
oh,
but I was extremely tense, but I
mm,
was slow. Slowness does not mean being relaxed. Um, I suffered from detachment from my own body. Uh,
mm,
I embraced my body after my childhood, as I said, after 60 years of struggle. When I became 70, 70, 71, and I finally, um, this is interesting. Many people may suffer from this, but people do not talk about these things. The reason I mention these things when I am doing a public speech, for example, in a panel, etc., I mention these things, and people are surprised, shocked, and they
mm.
feel they are liberated because people are afraid of expressing those problems.
Ah, yes, there is a
Okay,
deep, yes,
yeah,
there is a
what if it
deep,
is used against me? But I don't, I am myself.
another,
I am a poet, writer. Literature is a way of conveying life experience.
expression, yeah.
And
Mm,
so it is my ethical duty to help people who are suffering. I say I have healed, and this is how I have healed. You may heal too. Your wounds may be cured. You are the first person who will help yourself. But then we should not be afraid of asking for help. Many people
no,
think,
never.
uh,
What I think I want to add, there is a deep sense of guilt, shame, and hatred, fear attached, four forms to all of our these patterns, and they are not going away. And this is why we morph a lot of things through here with our intellectual mind when we say something. For example, we are not expressive enough what we feel, truly feel, what exactly is indicated, because our body and heart never lies. Our mind can create lies, a lot of lies, and but what our body and heart feels, it can never lie, truly. Because you might have felt in someone's presence, you might be feeling very not like staying over there, and something which just doesn't go well. It doesn't have to be that person is saying something bad to you, but it's your body telling that your nervous system, your body's energy is not actually matching with the person's energy, it's not safe for you. This is so important. And the way you said that, saying this courage that has actually broke you free from your guilt, fear, and shame, and you are being able to portray them and not trying to make everything look aesthetically pleasing, is so important to keep all these real talks alive. Because most of the, as you said, that most of the people felt like surprised. They were not only surprised just because they what if they are getting attacked for their weaknesses or something, but they got surprised also this person has the capacity, has that courage to actually put all of these in a very open space and expressing so freely. What is this? What is the reason behind their freedom?
Mm. Mm.
What is the reason that they are feeling so free that they are being able to express in this way? It has a change too. I am telling you, it has a lot to change in our societies. Because I am telling you 3 months ago's experience where one of my very close friends were living with me here, and he's a person from LGBTQ, so, and he has a different sense of, personality, and how in our societies they are looked down upon sometimes, or questioned, and they're seen in a very different angle. And we both were doing this self forgiveness meditation, which I introduced to him. I said, let us engage in a regular practice that actually builds, that can build a very shared connection, a growing friendship, I will say, a growing friendship, And he was, first few days, he was a really, what to say? I mean, like lethargic and not willing. And then I said that let's leave it. We don't have to. And one fine date came up. He said that let's do it. And one day, when we started doing it, he flushed into tears while doing that self forgiveness meditation. He cried, and I just clasped his hand as a friend and just patted his shoulder and like, it's okay. You feel what you are feeling. Even if you're feeling like crying, shouting, you feel what you are feeling because it is important. Don't morph it because I am present. I am willing to give you the safe space. And slowly, gradually, I have seen him very keen to doing that form of meditation every day, at least for 20 minutes. This is how I see him after 4 months when he says that he consistently has picked up the practice. So self confident, truly emitting a kind of, vibrance or light from him. The composure, his presence has become stronger even. Like he was
Mm.
very scattered. He used to feel like many things are going on. Being a spectrum of ADHD, he has one of them. So he say his presence have become more stronger. When I say to him like, you have become such a vibrant person, and I'm so happy to see you, and he said one thing, you showed the, seed of it. Thank you so much. And I was thinking how beautifully courageous it is, how radically beautiful it is, I will say, to actually share our authentic experience which we have felt from here. Truly, it, we don't know who it is, like encouraging to be more open and asking for help and being that courageous, that I need help because I feel this, I need help because I have this. It opens people up. It does that transformation, it does that change. And from my experience, as I'm being like confident on this platform, it has not come from one day. It's a regular, consistent, conscious choice of practices that has made me able to actually communicate with you, sir. I'm just like saying you very frankly, like as you shared your experiences, I felt inspired and motivated to see someone the very same range where he can actually share his experience and inspire people to. Yes, you become surprised, you get triggered because I am this, I know how it feels. I don't believe now because you know, as you said that I have liberated myself, it doesn't stay in believing. It has a knowing attached now. Like I
Mhm.
know how it happened.
Mhm.
So this is so beautifully strong thing, and it has also um, it is also related to loving ourselves and wanting to spread that love in different forms.
Mhm. True. Yeah. Well, thank you. And I keep learning a lot of things from you, really.
I
And
do too. I do too, truly.
uh,
Such enriching and nurturing episodes of conversations. I just love them.
yes, and so um, I just remember that I forgot to connect the term post-rationalism to the things we shared. And you are also a post-rationalist because
Mhm.
we embrace what rationalism, scientific thinking, etc., has brought us. We accept that,
Yes,
but we do not limit our vision to that. We care for the healthy animal side. One of the
exactly.
mistakes of many human animals is that they deny their animality. But we are also
Hmm.
animals.
Yes.
And then uh, I one of the decisions in my life, it was in my 50s, I tried to reduce the number of conceptual I tried to reduce my conceptual attitude, and I looked at cats and dogs. I said, uh, these all animals except humans are born wise. We need additional effort for wisdom.
Yes.
So uh, I try to learn from other animals. I keep learning from other animals.
Wonderful.
Yes, and that's why I consider myself a post-rationalist. And a few times I tested this feeling. One time, especially in my life, it's one of the moments I regret. The voice here said, "No, don't do that." But I wanted to test the validity of that voice, and I did what I didn't want to. Part of me wanted to, but in the course, something said, "Don't." But I did. It was a disaster. It led to a
Mhm.
disaster. Uh, one of the uh, so one should not force oneself. We should learn.
Yeah,
We, I mean, it is good to be willful and um, to have fruitful discipline, etc. But all these words take discipline. What is
truly,
discipline? Now, it differs. It depends. A military discipline is different from an artist's discipline. Uh,
truly,
um, uh, there's and also love, like a knife, can be misused. Many parents destroy their children by the way they love them.
yeah. A
You know,
sense of
love can
controlling is
be
also attached
destructive.
over there.
Love can be
Yeah,
destructive. So there are all these things, and um, uh, but love has is a mysterious word, a mysterious concept. When we see the word love, or say we cannot help feeling something good. Um, Only after thinking can we say that, okay, but love can be destructive, etc. But these are uh,
Hmm.
afterthoughts. The main
These are afterthoughts.
we love the word and concept of love, which is healthy actually. That's
Absolutely,
the
absolutely.
and then comes the infinite uh, variety and things. Yes, and I'm asking myself, yeah, um, 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 one should never feel guilty for loving something or someone, but behavior is our area of responsibility, not emotions. Uh, my first psychotherapist when I was 22. I should have seen a psychotherapist when I was a child, but unfortunately, that was not
Hmm.
common. It is still not common. People do not see psychologists or psychotherapists,
Such
unfortunately.
a such a stereotypic, prejudiced arena is psychological well-being,
Mm,
and
yes, yes.
that actually is causing so much of harm in the society, creating a lot of this is actually creating a lots and lots of unloving situations in the society, I'm telling you, because we still think it's a stereotype and somebody has gone into some different realm, and it's not something to consider. If we see the world, it's like one each and everyone has their mental health, some sort of mental health concerns, psychological concerns, but how much do we put effort to actually, um, it's not fixing ourselves, never fixing ourselves, but actually being the person to step up and embrace all of it with proper guidance, with more confidence, with more light towards it. As it's as you said, behavior is a area of responsibility truly, and nobody should feel guilty. But trust me, generation wise, we actually have inherited this in our DNA. I recently found this book very interesting. It did not start with you. There is a book, It Did Not Start With You, which talks of generational trauma
Mm,
and which has been inherited in our DNA, and how we act in a certain way. We are like programmed as if we have been programmed before we are born in our through our DNAs, and it has passed down to us. So interesting, many of the weight we are carrying without knowing is not of ours also. It started somewhere and never went away. And it this book I was reading, didn't complete it because it was a little heavy book, and I take time when I read heavy books or something which is really can give you mirror kind of thing. It's not bad, or I'm not saying it's anywhere bad, but there are few responsibilities I have to also abide by. And then when comes a wonderful, such a heavy, such a deep book, which you need time to actually complete. So it says how your DNA carries all the memories, all those memories that has passed down. This is why we need psychologists and therapists in this format, because internal family system, if you have known, I think you know, right? Internal family system, there is a type of therapy and therapy system where you go, you get to know actually which identities you have like unconsciously have taken from your ancestors and generations actually. And that has something to do with your current identity, like how you have acquired this, and you are into this question, who am I, and this and that. And it at a certain level it does unravel, delayer one by one, but somebody being courageous enough to go to that, courageous enough to take that step is more important.
Yes, and uh, one of the things we can love is possibilities. Love
Possibilities.
for possibilities and feeling joyful because the joy of living. That's one of the 9, 10 pieces of advice I gave my daughter uh, in
Beautiful.
her 45 years. I said, listen to your joy of living. That will show you the true path. If something is harming your joy of living, uh, there's a problem there. And when I look at a person, now the question is, one of the questions may be, how can we fully make use of our loving capacity, our capacity for love? Each person has capacity for love, also for hate, but we can feed our uh, potential, our capacity. We can uh, feel more love um, by. Uh, I'm not an animist, but there is wisdom in that approach. There is as if everything is live or uh, at least connected. We owe a lot to everything, so much. And come to think of it, um, for example, um, one of the interesting areas is this notion of love for God or love of God, yes, or gods or goddesses. Um, uh, I find that um, I mean it naturally gives one somebody who believes in the existence of a god or gods goddesses that certainly brings some energy, some good feeling. But
Mm.
isn't there a risk by um, loving a being which is assumed, which to me probably is not there? We divert our potential of love, capacity of love, to a non-existent being instead of diverting, channeling our capacity to love to living beings or non-living beings, but they are there. Even putting a piece of stone, a stone from here to there with love, doing whatever with uh, many people divide their lives into two, uh, this or that religion. They say this is daily life, and then they pray or they there are rituals, religious rituals. For me, life is itself sacred. So whatever I do, I should do it. I want to do it, and I should do it aesthetically, ethically, as if I were a religious person. I mean, to me,
Yeah.
rituals and daily life should be one, not dividing life into, okay, now this is my daily life, this is this world's thing, and then I have a sacred thing apart. That is a kind of unhealthy division, I
Yeah,
think.
it's quite divisional, and it's interesting how I am actually learning. I am actually learning to experience, learning to realize. Like actually prayers in form of, like, there is a certain part in our like philosophical tradition that is like non-dualistic approach, which says the highest and the supreme divine is nothing but you in your highest self, and both are same. That is supreme divine, you in your highest self, that you cannot realize in this portion, that is unrealizable right now, but in you in your highest self is supreme divine, and it doesn't, like, your atman or your soul is not apart from that supreme divines. It's like same, very same. So it is non-dualistic approach. You don't see in a division way, and there is also dualistic approaches, but very beautifully how I am learning from my traditional approaches in a deep studying them or deep realizational ways. Like for example, in our culture, Radha and Krishna are seen as the symbols of divine love between masculine and the feminine. And it says if your desired god is Radha and Krishna, it's like love in its highest form, you are worshipping love in its highest form, kind of thing, if you see it in a non-dualistic approach. And if you are like breaking stereotypes, breaking societal norms, for example, if we do like worship or something like Shiva. I'm just telling the deepest meaning of it. Shiva or Shakti, and this it's like for example, Shiva in its highest form. They're saying when you are doing worship to that form, you are doing actually worshipping your highest form, where it breaks all the societal norms, societal stereotypes, and everything. A god that lives in a cremation ground, which actually says the death of your basically ego or identityness, and you reach a renewal from there. Like it's a death, it's a liberation from what you hold as identity. So it's also needed if someone is doing their worship or their way in a very divisional way, or just integrating with their the knowledge it has to give them, and also their deep inherent wisdom, because wisdom is something that is not taken from outside, but it is actually realizational, that is experiential, mostly wisdom. And that's why we don't say wisdom energy.
Yes.
Knowledge is also not knowledge energy, but
Yes.
knowledge is inherited from externally.
Hmm.
Yes. So I say sometimes we do worship the nature. Like there are
Hmm.
indigenous cultures, and also in our the five elements are all as we have talked. So how beautiful it is when I was in nature. This is very recent realizational apart. I understood nature does not give us knowledge; it gives us wisdom. It makes us realize a thing we won't get into by reading a book or something, because reading a book will give us beautiful knowledge of something, but it gives instilled wisdom here. I mean, it you can realize something from nature. For example, you see animals, how you say we learned this thing from animal learning, and there is a realization from that learning that is attached, that is coming in form of wisdom. When say someone is wise, their inner way they are wise, basically. So how beautiful we have, as you pointed this out, that division. Why this division? Very important question, very important thing, because this is also one of my questions. This was because why we are dividing. Both should be integrated. And as more I am learning and more I am knowing, it says our like different pandits says, if you do worship or not depends on you. It doesn't have to be you have to just worship for the sake of worshiping, without actually realizing, without actually being truthful or dedicated to the wisdom it has to give you. what is the wisdom? It's like you are praying to the highest form of yourself, your one qualities. Like that is in its highest form. And you cannot imagine right now, but it is in that highest form, that's why you are worshipping to that God or something. Because he is the symbol of that. And this is how.
That's a
And
very nice approach and very informative. Thank
yeah,
you. And
yes, and
this, excuse me, this nicely coincides with the ideal of Nietzsche when he said Übermensch, overman. He invited people to improve themselves. He invited humanity to improve humanity, etc. So
mm,
that constant improvement, not as some people misused his approach. He was not a racist, or he did not want. That's
yeah,
a
that's
different story.
completely different from
Different.
racism or yeah,
Yes. He. So totality, a holistic view. Uh,
yeah, holistic
Nature is integral, interactive.
integral.
So we are part of it. We are interactive, etc. So this journey, let's enjoy the ride. This life is it's a ride. Let's try to
It's a
have
ride, yes.
it's a ride. Let's enjoy the ride. Uh, but our enjoyment uh, should be uh, fruitful for not only ourselves but for the general good, etc. These are
Holistic
it
well-being or
holistic. Yes,
holistic
it is not
goodness.
I and you, I you,
Yeah,
we you, etc.
yes, yes, exactly. It should be that integratedness, that collectiveness, that it's not self and the other. It's not that separation of self, but it is like we all coming in
Yes,
that form.
true.
So,
Uh,
so beautiful.
and one more thing, the audience will learn now that I was kindly awarded Mahatma Gandhi Peace Award by La Foundation for World Peace, uh, based in Italy. Uh, so, and that wonderful award gave me more responsibility.
So you have been rewarded with that, like with the
Yes,
award.
Mahatma Gandhi Peace
Oh,
Award.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm humbled,
Yes,
and
that's
I find
amazing.
myself more responsible now in my attitude, in my daily life, in my efforts. That and when we talk about okay, peace, how about peace? Our next topic, one of our following topics. Would you like that? Peace.
Yeah, it would be really nice. Peace, something that came in my
In December. In December, let's do peace.
yes, peace. It works. Peace.
Okay. Anything else? I have.
And
I think I have expressed everything I needed to. I felt like
yeah, I think discipline is the another thing that came in my mind.
good idea.
Apart
Let's do
from
that.
peace, peace is of course again like expansive uh, discussion.
Yes,
And
yes,
then discipline.
yes, yes. Anything else you would like to say about love?
um for today, it has been very enriching episode for both of us as we are
Yes,
conversing more. We have become more open towards what we have been, our previous selves, ourselves, and how we have like integrated ourselves into this current state of what we think love is, and how love is. So it has to do with all of ourselves that we have endured, we have enjoyed, we have suffered, and all of these things, and into this deep wisdom of coming to this the definition of love. And I liked like the courage and strength to put up uncomfortable, unspoken fears, uncomfortable topics into this platform. And it itself has a form of freedom, and love in its one of its big sense is freedom and freedom
Wonderful.
of expression. Yes.
Exactly.
So this
Thank you. And
was my take.
when I was 14, 4, I decided to contribute to the formation of a freedom ethics. And
Mm,
what we are doing now is in harmony with that. One of the goals in my life was that. I'm happy. I'm happy we are
wonderful.
together. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's so um, value adding, so nurturing, and so enriching that I would love to come back again and again for the conversations, because it gives a platform where we are not only for the sake of speaking about one subject, but we are deeply feeling, and we are um, expressing the unseen sides of us,
True.
which we might have just taken to ourselves, because we know we are the most honest only to ourselves.
Mm.
And maybe we choose to show some form of our sides, our personalities, but that's not the full truth. We know what we truly are, and just being able to take a step up and being courageously portraying that, or just uplift like lifting that side of us in this platform has been truly um, truly value adding, and truly um, transformational for me also, because I got this safe space.
And one of the concepts I love, is co-evolution. We are
Co-evolution.
co-evolving. And
Oh wow, I want to add this word.
yes, and for
Co-evolution.
me, the Earthmates Cafe is for co-evolution. And whenever you can, whenever you want, please feel free to join. You will
Absolutely.
always be.
Until and unless my Sundays are all into washing, all into
Hmm.
cleaning,
Yes,
I would definitely love to.
even it starts at 9:30 p.m. your time. So even if
Yes.
for 10 minutes, half an hour, you know.
Next day is Sunday, 9th, right?
Yes, usually we meet on the first Sunday and the third Sunday, twice a
Third
month.
Sunday.
But
Yeah.
this time we have this additional one because I was on stage. We hadn't done the third Sunday thing. So that will be something additional. Okay, we are together. Thank you so much, dear
Absolutely.
Suchismita. And my regards to
Thank
your
you so
family and
much.
friends.
Have
Thank you.
really great days ahead with full of health and prosperity.
Thank you. Yes. And dear Earthmates, we have just concluded without putting a full stop, a comma, to our chain of conversations. It's like a river. Let's, yeah, let's love living.
Hmm.
Bye.
Yes. Bye.